Remember when BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink took over for Klaus Schwab as the head of the WEF? Because of course, like who else are you going to pick up and put in Klaus Schwab's place? This guy, Larry Fink. That was a fun time. He's still there, by the way, as the interim head of the WEF. This is the guy. This is Guy Smiley right there. Well, now something big is happening across America, and it's flying under the radar while everyone is focused on No Kings protests and Trump remodeling the White House. BlackRock, one of the largest asset managers on earth, which owns just about everything, appears to be quietly buying up huge pieces of the U.S. energy grid. But don't worry, they say it's all about building infrastructure for artificial intelligence, so don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. I spent a lot of time reading BlackRock's website, and they lay it all right out there. They say it in their own words. Quote, the need for AI data centers, the energy to support them is helping to create a generational opportunity in infrastructure today. They go on, if you're bullish on AI and AI adoption, then you have to be bullish on the power and utilities and the infrastructure. So I guess that's why we're buying all of it. So here's the thing. In certain states, BlackRock is already in the driver's seat on a lot of this, controlling the power grid. In places like Minnesota, Tim Walz's state, communist state of Minnesota at this point, BlackRock is already in control. A recent deal would hand them one of the region's major utilities, and they're acquiring a lot of vital infrastructure there, according to the Minnesota Power. And regulators are approving a $6.2 billion acquisition of the utility Minnesota's power parent company by BlackRock's infrastructure arm, despite some serious concerns about higher electricity rates. And what you're seeing right here on your screen is the next asset about private equity, because who cares about higher energy costs? But the watchdog group Private Equity Stakeholder, they flagged BlackRock's bid for another giant that they want to buy, the AES Corporation. They call this an alarming takeover spree, saying that BlackRock is moving aggressively to control America's power grid through private equity acquisitions, potentially to serve the firm's own data center developments, end quote. But if you dive deeper, there's actually a clear motive here. Utilities in regulated markets have customers who are locked in. They're captive. They can't go anywhere. Like these, what are you going to do? Like go off the grid and just not use power anymore? I guess. Like if you got like some solar panels and you had your own generator or something, but you're captive. They have no choice but to pay your energy rates. Like it's just like in Portugal, for instance, the country sold off its energy grid to China. Prices skyrocketed. The Portuguese government have no choice but to pay for it. So China owns and runs Portugal's electric grid because they were so wildly into debt. Like, hey, what can we sell off to make some money here? We'll just sell off our entire electric grid to China. Okay. The Portuguese government just handed over the keys to that. Meanwhile, it's not just BlackRock, it's also Blackstone, which obviously people conflate those two all the time. They often get them confused. Blackstone has spent billions buying American single-family homes across the country, and now they're also acquiring on their own natural gas and utilities across the country. Blackstone has already bought natural gas companies in Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Indiana, and Virginia. And Blackstone says it's all about AI. So, these guys, these like two major asset management companies are going to own the entire energy infrastructure across the United States.
What do you mean when you say they say it's all, they're saying they need all of these assets so that they can power AI.
Right. But why do they have to be the ones to hold the keys to these power grids?
Right.
Like so that they're controlling every part of the pipeline.
Yeah.
So the AI back end, the AI front end, and the AI middle, they're going to control the entire pipeline.
Right.
From soup to nuts. Like, I don't know how this isn't a monopoly. And I hope that the Trump administration, I know they're kind of cozy with Larry Fink and those guys, but I hope they look into this. Where's Theodore Roosevelt when you need him? Trust buster. Because this sounds like a giant monopoly waiting to happen. And what happens when those prices just start going up a few cents, a few cents, a few cents? And they'll do it incrementally. They're not going to do it like Microsoft, like Xbox Game Pass, doubling the price overnight. They'll do it a few pennies here, a few pennies here. Suddenly, before you know it, it's up $10. Your bill's up $20. Your bill's up $30. And they'll blame it on AI needs. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. If you're a homeowner, you need to pay attention to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud that is on the rise. It's called title theft, and your equity of your home is the target in all of this. Here's how it works. Criminals basically forge your signature. on a single document. That's all it takes. They use a fake notary stamp and then they file it with the county. It's that simple. And just like that, on record, they own your home. They can use your ownership to do things like take out loans against your equity or even sell your property. And you won't even notice it until you get foreclosed upon, or there's like a collection notice that shows up in the mail. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can protect your equity and you can find out today if you're already a victim. I've been a fan of Home Title Lock for years. Natalie and I have had them on our primary residence. We want to protect our title. It's our most sacred place, our home with our family. We don't want thieves stealing the equity in our home or using it for nefarious purposes. So use my code Redacted today. Right now at HometitleLock.com, you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes that come up. So if they notice something odd on your title, they will alert you right away. And here's the best part. These guys are amazing. If fraud occurs, if someone does steal your title, their US-based restoration team will actually step in and they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. They have an incredible track record. These guys are amazing. Find out why I trust Home Title Lock for my own home and my own family. Don't be a victim. Protect your family today. That's HometitleLock.com and use the promo code Redacted, or use the link in the description below. Meanwhile, this story, Venezuela. War with Venezuela is barreling towards a reality. The Mockingbird media once again and Republican neocons are in lockstep, like Senator Lindsey Graham. Why the hell are they still giving this guy airtime? Guy pushing for war in Ukraine, pushing for war in Iran, now pushing for war in Venezuela. They are manufacturing consent for war all across the airwaves as we speak, trying to convince all of us that Venezuela is the largest purveyor of drugs flowing into the United States. Listen to Sean Hannity laugh it up with Senator Lindsey Graham over the idea that Venezuela should become the 51st state of America after we occupy them. Watch.
I had a chat with you this weekend, and I thought you had a pretty darn good idea, and you said you were going to share it with the president. I want to know if you did, and that is this opposition leader in Venezuela that won the Nobel Prize that said it really deserved to go to Donald Trump. Sounds like a pretty good leader to me for the people of Venezuela and the end of narco-terrorism and a better relationship with the U.S. Or if they choose maybe the 51st state, I don't know.
Sounds good to me, but the opposite.
That is maniacal.
Yeah, he'd be a great leader for their country. Donald Trump be a great leader for Venezuela. What do you guys think about that?
You want to hear something funny? There once was a constitutional amendment to rename the United States of America to the United States of Earth because some early U.S. politicians thought it'd be a great idea to just keep going, just keep expanding the United States until it was one big nation state all around the globe. So this seems to be what's happening, even though that constitutional amendment failed.
Right. We just install puppet governments so we don't get to claim that we're colonialists, yet we control their entire government like in Ukraine and other parts of the world. Go ahead, Philip or David.
That was me. And Trump is doing a fundraiser for Lindsey Graham, and he's out here bashing Rand Paul and Thomas Massey.
Yeah. The first person that Trump went on to do this sort of tour around the country to start campaigning for people, the first person, he goes to South Carolina to campaign for Lindsey Graham. Disgusting. Now, President Trump this morning just admitted that there is a 9th war coming. This isn't a slip of the tongue. He said it multiple times during this little interview here, this little press gaggle today. He says that he's ended 8 wars so far as president of the United States, and a 9th one is coming soon.
It's going to be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John, it's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming, all right? We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not.
Let's applaud. By the way, which 8 wars? Which 8 wars are now completely over? Like, is the Ukraine war over?
No.
Okay. Well, which 8 wars are done now? And which is the 9th war? Well, clearly it looks like it's Venezuela, but take your pick. Maybe it's China, maybe it's Iran, but my money is on Venezuela. All signs are pointing to that when the mainstream media is now manufacturing consent for war in lockstep with the Trump administration and the Republican neocons. So to hear it from the Trump administration, though, all the drugs pouring in the United States are coming from Venezuela. Therefore, we can just indiscriminately bomb people's boats in Venezuelan waters without letting us know anything about them, who's actually on board these boats, or submarines. Like this one, a drug-carrying submarine that was navigating towards the United States on a well-known narco-trafficking transit route. Today, U.S. intelligence said this submarine was loaded with fentanyl. So take their word for it. Just take their word for it. I love how conservatives mostly hate the FBI and the CIA, and they don't trust anything the government says. But when they tell us these boats are all drug runners, we eat it up like lapdogs. Like, don't question them. CIA told us. The CIA told us that these were drug-running ships. So just believe everything they say. It's all over Fox News. Don't you see it? Yeah, CIA, we trust you. About as far as we can throw you. One of your favorite hobbies is regime change operations, so we'll believe anything you tell us. It's madness. Maybe these boats have, to have drugs, does that mean we should also invade their country as well? Because it won't stop with the boats. Massive amounts of fentanyl are pouring in from Canadian ports from China, and Canada isn't doing anything to stop it. Maybe we should invade Canada as well. What about Mexico? What about Colombia, which is the biggest offender? I don't hear any discussions about Colombia. What about Nicaragua? What about Honduras? But it's Venezuela. Turns out, according to Colonel Douglas McGregor, the whole drug argument is a lie. It's just cover up for Venezuela. It's just cover up because Venezuela accounts for very little of the drugs coming into the United States. It's really about stealing their oil and their gold. Listen.
No one is asking hard questions about the real purpose of American military action against Venezuela or the potential strategic impact on the United States, good or bad. Most people in the Senate seem to privately think, well, Venezuela could be an opportunity for Washington to recover trillions in wealth squandered on failed U.S. military interventions in the Middle East and Ukraine. In fact, when I listen to people talk about Venezuela, they sound as though they're ready to climb into their Viking boats, sail down to Venezuela, steal everything that they need and want without regard to what happens to the population. Because all they talk about is Venezuela's oil and gas, its gold mines, its emerald mines. There isn't much discussion, frankly, on the Hill or inside the Beltway about the alleged role that Venezuela plays in drug and human trafficking because, frankly, it's very small. Colombia is much more heavily involved, as is Mexico.
Yeah, so you don't hear about Colombia and you're not hearing about Mexico. But Venezuela will invade.
All right, well, so some comeuppance for Obama administration officials, namely John Brennan. John Brennan. I'm going to start that all over again. Some legal comeuppance for former Obama administration officials, namely former CIA director John Brennan. Is it because he regularly ran cover for the Obama administration whenever they would drone civilians freely? And then he said, oh, we got some more terrorists. No, that's not it. That would be funny, though, right? Because we don't punish American officials for killing civilians overseas. Never. Instead, the news is that he has been criminally referred to the United States Department of Justice for allegedly making numerous willful and intentional false statements of material fact in his committee testimony. According to the referral, Brennan denied that the CIA relied on the so-called Steele dossier in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which we know they did. And also, he must have known at the time that that was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign. The criminal referral documents claim a CIA officer drafted the Cliff Notes version of the Steele dossier, basically summarizing it, and that Brennan made the final call. They say that his sworn testimony was a brazen attempt to knowingly and willfully testify falsely to fictitiously false material. Now this case moves towards possible prosecution. So yes, John Brennan, he ran a lot of cover for killing civilians during his time in the Obama administration. That is not something that any Justice Department has ever shown an appetite to prosecute. of any American official, but instead, okay, this will do because the Steele dossier caused so much trauma inside United States politics. So, okay, we'll see what happens. This is just a referral. Whether or not the Justice Department picks it up, we are not sure.